What up, welcome back to the channel. I'm MoedotJ. We are locked in. This is episode 13 of All American. Listen to me, people. Episode 13. One thing we do know was last week that all of these privileged kids were acting a fool. Liv over here releasing things. Layla had to save her and drop a message on the podcast. Laura, she's like, man, I might lose my job over this. We losing witnesses. Oh my goodness. Crenshaw took a knee. We didn't get no football. They may not make the playoffs. I might have to come down there and replace Billy as the coach. It was a lot last week, but before we get into this week, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you're gonna be a part of this, hit your subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. It's the easiest thing you can do. Now this week on Bring the Noise, All American, we need to know, is there going to be justice for this young lady that was killed? What are we going to do to these officers? And is Crenshaw going to make the playoffs? Because if they don't, bye-bye Crenshaw High. But I'm not going to hold y'all up no more. Let's jump into it. It's episode 13, All American, Bring the Noise. Crenshaw, they took the knee. Frosto comes in talking about, Coach, man, I hope you're not upset, man. What's going to happen to you when they cut the football program? Billy's like, man, don't worry about that. All I need is for my players to do something that they feel is right and to follow it. That's the best thing. But hey, check this out. I'm going to have a scrimmage this weekend. Don't worry about who. And there's going to be some scouts there. I want you to perform your best. Frosto's like, oh, I got it, coach. So the good thing for Billy is they may not got this game, but for the kids, having this scrimmage is still footage that they can put together to try to go to college. Even if they do lose the football program, Billy's still thinking of the kids' future, which is college. And a lot of these kids, they don't have an opportunity to, normally because of academics, but with their grades that they're getting now, because they're eligible and they're being held to a higher standard, they can. But football, just a little over the top, you know, a little incentive for the schools to look at them. I bet y'all ain't expect to see that coming. The Baker boy link up. We got a handshake. Jordan's talking about, yeah, Pops, looks like we both, we took a hit this weekend. Billy's talking about, yeah, but we Baker boys, we always bounce back. Resiliency, people. Resiliency. Spence shows up to the house and Grace is in there cleaning up. You know how she do. She's over there talking to Spence about staying focused. He's like, man, I just got this speech from Billy. Jeez, Mom. Y'all know how it is. She's like, hey, well, you gonna hear it from me. I do it better. But Spencer sees an envelope. He picks it up. He's like, hey, what is this? It's from Palm State College. Grace snatches it, and now him and Dylan are, Mom, they're just begging her to figure out what's in that. Turns out it's her diploma. She graduated, Bachelor of Arts, but she says she doesn't want to celebrate because of everything that's going on. Now, I know the feeling. I graduated back in February. Well, I got my diploma and stuff back in February, my degree, and I didn't celebrate. I just woke up and like, okay, cool, bought a frame. But I understand where she's coming from. As I said in the intro, Liv, the privileged child, Liv. She doing too much. Your mom is a lawyer. There are steps you gotta take. You can't just release evidence. But it turns out the cops that killed this lady, Tamika, they're actually fired. And Laura's like, I know. But it's still going to be kind of hard to get everything together because of all the information. And she doesn't say it. Liv is like, I know. The information I released. Yes, that kind of messed up the case because, we're supposed to have witnesses and there's more steps that you're going to take. You want to get laws passed and things. But when they see that the DA, they have slips in it and a child can get information, it's going to mess up everything moving forward on other cases, especially high level cases. We see Preach in here. Now, Preach has a shirt on with Coop on. It looks like it's from 1995, but he talking about, look what I did, Coop. I need to be in charge of merchandise. Coop is like, okay, cool. But Coop, the name needs to be bigger. The only thing is he needs money for this. So he's talking about, hey, man, you know any producers or anything? Dang, how you going to be in charge of marketing and you need me to do all the work? But if you remember, Mo tried to trick him, take him out to eat, give him a little kiss, just a little bit of sugar, just a little. Preach seen right through it and he said, nah, I ain't falling for it. So he's trying to go legit and help Coop out. That's always a good thing. We back in Crenshaw. Liv is over here and her and Spence in the kitchen talking about, let's do something for your mama's birthday. Shh, hey, shh. Don't tell nobody. My mom in the other room. Let's get her cap and a gown and maybe her favorite cake. But on the news in the living room, you hear Dylan and they watching a TV that look about, maybe they struggling. It's like a 27-inch. And they talk about Spencer James from Crenshaw. He takes a knee. Liv Baker releases the footage. Are these two the face of the new movement? Dun, dun, dun. And Dylan's like, wow, you two are famous. So these two are getting credit for everything that they're doing to look out for Tamika and bring awareness to this situation. Liv and Spence are doing what Liv and Spence do. They always take things to another level. All right, you guys are on TV. You guys know what you did already. Now let's just move forward. But they're talking about what? Well, what do we need to do next? Hey, just chill, man. Things will naturally flow. And Mama Grace comes in talking about, hey, y'all putting too much pressure on yourselves. Y'all are kids. Just be kids, man. Chill, relax. Asher and his estranged mother. Now, we know that they weren't seeing eye to eye. We know that she actually left Asher with the dad. The dad didn't really want Asher. So their communication and their relationship, it's real teetery right now. But they're talking, and Asher's just like, okay, cool. And she wants him to come and meet the guy that she's going to marry. And Asher's just like, hey, I really don't know. But guess who pops up? Vanessa. And she doesn't want anything. She just, hey, Asher, how are you doing? You still want to study? They introduce him to Asher's mom. She leaves, and Asher's mom's like, what was that? Because it don't seem like just friends. And he's like, man, don't talk about it, Mom. It's already too much stuff and drama coming from it. All of this drama and stuff is because of you. If you just act like a human and talk, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But you know how these kids are up in Beverly Hills. Coop comes over to Layla's house with this 95 shirt on, talking about, look at this. Guess who did it? Guess who did this? Preach did this. And Layla's looking at it like, oh, okay. What is that? She's like, oh, Preacher's going to be doing the merchandise for us. She's like, does he have any experience? She's like, nah, he doesn't really have any experience, but he's known to move some, work. And for people that don't know, move work is, she's talking about he has experience with moving drugs. Buy it, sell it, buy a shirt, sell a shirt. Same thing, same concept. But Layla's like, hey, we don't have any startup money, and we probably need to get somebody that's more experienced. But Coop is saying, Preach can do it. He can do it. So Layla's like, all right, well, invite him over and let's talk to him. First of all, I wouldn't invite him over to the house. I'd go meet him at the Crenshaw Cafe or at the Beverly Hills Cafe. I'm not bringing a convict to the house. A felon? No, especially after a break-in. Listen to me, people. Baker goes all the way up to Beverly Hills to go coach Coach Montez. Now, she is Jordan's football coach. Now, they get up there and they do the small talk at first. Oh, I like how you changed the office around. I see you frosted the windows. That's nice because, she's a woman, men locker room. You can't be able to see in and out. But Billy comes up there and says, hey, tomorrow I'm throwing together a scrimmage. I got scouts coming, but I need another team. Fool, this is football. We need at least a week or something to plan for this. You can't just come up here on a Friday talking about, hey, Saturday, you trying to scrimmage. Montez turns it down. My boys, we're going to the state championship. We're going to the playoffs. We're trying to win. We can't afford to get hurt in a meaningless game. Now, I don't think that you guys should have had your season forfeited for what you did, but I'm not risking my kids for that. I'm just not going to do it. And that's common sense. This is football, man. They about to go to playoffs. You want 1 day notice talking about, hey, can you come scrimmage us? Hell no. Then Billy walks out in the locker room. He sees the state championship banner, and he's just reminiscing like, dang, maybe I shouldn't have left Beverly Hills, bro. It's hard out there in Crenshaw. Yeah, it is. That's why you moved up out of Crenshaw. We know it's hard down there, but you got to do what you got to do. Everything that I see, I like to point it out. So they just went and picked up the cap and gown for their mother. Well, for Spencer's mother. Now they're walking back, and this cap and gown is just out. It's not in a box. It's not in a bag, nothing. It's just outside to the weather. All the elements can get to it. But while they're walking, you see a group of white girls talking about power for Tamika. I'm like, hey, man, put that damn black fist down. You don't know what you're talking about. Then there's also a white guy that walks by like, hey, what you're doing is bad to those cops. They have families. So Liv, she just doesn't understand. She's just too naive to the situation because she's always been, how could I say it? She's always been protected in the Beverly Hills with who her mother is and who her father is. So she doesn't understand that this is how people really think outside of the little protection that she has. And Spencer's like, look, let's just continue on about our day with my mom and have joy be what's bringing us together for today. Liv and Spencer, they're at Liv's house and they're getting ready to make this cake. I thought they was going to buy a cake. They're about to make a cake. Neither one of them know where the measuring cups are, so this cake is probably going to fall down in the middle. The whole time, Spence is looking for things. Liv is on the internet looking at her phone talking about, man, you see what they're talking about me on social media, man? The comments are crazy. And Spence is like, hey, don't look at those comments, man. They talk bad about me too. They talk about my hands, and look at my hands. And this is good for all the younger people, even some adults watching. Hey, it's social media, man. It's just media. Media is fake. Who cares? It's social media. Don't worry about what people say about you on here. People clown me all the time in the comments. I don't care. I comment, hey, thanks for watching. Keep it moving. You can't let somebody knock you off of what you're doing because they have an opinion about you. And that's what Spence is explaining to Liv. Jordan walks into Coach Montez's office, meaning business, talking about, I talked to my pops about the scrimmage and he told me what you said. But if the roles were reversed, wouldn't you be coming to him? She's like, yeah, I would come to Billy with that. But I know he would give me the same answer. We're getting ready for the playoffs. Now, Jordan, he says enough of this. What he comes up with is, listen, the game is going to be played. We could use the practice for playoffs. We want you to be there with us. But since the game is not going to be played on school grounds, you can't tell us what we can and can't do. So we're going to play this game. We just wish we had our coach with you. Now, one thing I can say on Coach Montez's part, she has all of the say. Y'all can't take this equipment off of school grounds. Now what? Huh? Yeah, because the school owns all that property, Jordan. But it looks like the team they want to have this scrimmage against Crenshaw. Asher's at the cafe working out. Man, these kids don't never be at the house, do they? Layla's in there picking up some things. She comes over. Oh, okay, I see you studying over here, Asher. He's like, yeah, me and Vanessa, we're getting ready for this. She's like, oh, on the date? He's like, nah, it's nothing like that. I don't need somebody to make me happy like everybody else. Hey, Asher, chill. But what he says is, my bad. I got into it with my mom. She wants me to hang out with Jacob. He's going to be my stepdad. But if I hang out with him, it's going to make my dad mad. And it's just going to... Now, I can understand this if they were like 12, 13, and you would think that. But these are kids. They're acting like adults. They're moving in relationships like adults. So you shouldn't think like my dad's, oh, man, Asher's hanging with Jacob. No, man, ain't nobody gonna get mad at that. But Layla recommends, hey, bring Vanessa with you. That'll be a buffer. You know what I'm saying? You're not picking a side. You're just going to dinner and Vanessa will be there. So you'll have somebody, little comfort zone over here so you can talk to Vanessa on the side. You don't have to talk to Jacob the whole time. That's actually a smart idea. Jordan comes back over to Crenshaw. Hey, Dad, guess what? And Billy, the first thing he thought about was, man, don't tell me Simone is pregnant again. I'm like, hey, again? The first one wasn't mine, so, hey, I'm good. But he's like, nah, the Eagles, they're going to play the game. He's like, how'd you get that to happen? He's like, man, you know me, I'm a Baker boy. Remember the handshake, the Baker boy handshake? While all this is going on, they're like, all right, we're excited. We get the scrimmage this Saturday against Beverly Hills. Guess who texts them? Carter. Billy, the field is unavailable for this weekend. Man, we're going to have to go play in that little park over there in Crenshaw that we cleaned up that the Blood and Crips were fighting over. Spencer's in there whipping up the cake. Liv in there talking to him. It looked like coconut cake. I don't know what it is, but I don't want that for no graduation, so I'll pass. But while they're talking, they get close, and you already know what happened when they tried to get that kiss. Liv drunk tail wrecked the car. But they get close, and then Spencer looks at his phone. He's like, what? You got a text message? And they sprint up out the house. They run down to the cafe. People are taking pictures. Everybody's posting it. Justice for Tamika. Someone threw a rock through the glass window and tore down the sign, Justice for Tamika. Now, we know what happened last year. We seen all the riots and all the protests, all the clashing. This could be the starter right here. That's all it really takes is one thing like this. Now a group of people get upset. They go do something else and retaliate. They start protesting. Then white folks get mad because they in Beverly Hills now. Let's not forget that. They in Beverly Hills. So these rich white folks, they ain't really on the side of them black people. Y'all know that. Asher said he was there when the guy did it. And Asher just sat there like, man, what's this guy yelling about? He talking about all lives matter. So everybody's like, oh, man. Spencer's talking about, man, if I wouldn't have been all over the news, man, no one would have ever came up here. Quit putting the blame on yourself, Spencer. The man seen the poster and he went off. He did what he did. It wasn't because of, oh, man, Spencer's up here. Nah, don't quit looking at it like that. But now they need to figure out where we're going to have Grace's celebration party for her graduation because it's in a couple of hours. We don't have nothing. So Ashley, like, you know what? My mom's boyfriend Jacob owns a restaurant. We can have it there. They'll be okay with that. Now, you know they ain't trying to have that many black folk up in that restaurant. Let's just be real. What I tell y'all, Asher's mom was like, hell no, we ain't having that up in here. Tonight was supposed to be about us. But Jacob, he seemed like he's cool. He's trying to get on the good side of Asher, talking about, all right, yeah, you could do that, because how often does your friend's mom graduate from college? Matter of fact, I'll shut the restaurant down for a couple of hours and make some appetizers. What's a party without appetizers? Asher's like, cool, thanks. I guess I'll let everybody know. His mom's like, it looks like you already did that. She is all about herself, and that's one reason she left his daddy. Everybody in the city go to Crenshaw Cafe. Guess who's in here? Principal Carter. He in there reviewing files. Okay, this student did good. Boy, if he don't get back at the office, but Billy comes in because he's upset. Hey, you really don't want these kids to play. And Carter's saying, you really want that field, don't you? After all this, you just want to get back at me after you ruined my life and you don't even remember it. And he tells him, hey, my mom just got diagnosed with cancer. That's still no reason to treat anybody the way he did. Just because you're hurting don't mean hurt somebody else. But Billy's trying to say, listen, there's going to be college scouts here and they're going to be looking for these kids and they're going to be calling you about it because you're their principal. So at least worry about these kids' future. Whatever we had in the past, that's between you and I. But let's worry about these kids. And Carter's kind of think about it like, yeah, you might be right. I am the principal. Spence and Liv, they still have this ongoing conversation. Liv feels like she should do more since she's the one that initiated this. She released the body cam footage. And some white girl named Gabby comes over. And I don't know what she has in her hand, but she got some good drink. She's like, I didn't peg you guys as racist. All cops hate black people. You know they have a right to defend themselves. And her and Liv, they start to get into it, but things take a turn. She throws the drink on Liv and they going at it. Spencer's trying to break it up, talking about, get out of here, Gabby. I won't be as nice as Liv. And Liv talking about, I'm going to call the cops. What you going to do? Call the cops and say, hey, someone threw that drink on me. Get down here. We need to have them arrested. What they going to say? Was the cup used as a weapon? Come on, man. This is just the privilege that she has up in Beverly Hills. Down in Crenshaw, ain't no calling the cops because someone threw drink on you. But she's saying, this is the country we live in. It shouldn't be like this. And Spencer tells her, this is the country it's always been. It's just they aren't hiding it anymore. So you're going to call these same cops, the ones you're going against? It don't work like that. It's just not going to work like that. They're not going to be on your side. This is Liv. Oh, yeah, we ain't working with you because you done got 2 cops fired. So now the cops are looking at you from a different light. Just as I expected, the meeting between Layla and the street guy Preach wasn't going to go how they thought it was. Now she gets in there, she starts asking the right questions. Are you able to have a production team that's able to manage all of these products? Are you able to do this, do that? Like, it's more than just making a t-shirt and selling it. Do you have any online presence? Because that's where everybody's buying things. And he's like, look, while you were skimming merch for such and such, I'm out here getting money. If that's the case, you wouldn't have came here looking for money then, Preach. But Layla actually knows the business and she says Coop is on contract. So I do have some say-so in the marketing and things that she does with her products. This makes Preach mad. Preach gets up and he storms out. Now he's scolding Coop, talking about, you said you wanted to be independent, answer to nobody, do it Nipsey style. Well, Nipsey still had people working with him. He still had a team for merchandise. He still had a team for promotion. It wasn't just Nipsey out here doing it all by himself. Yeah, in the beginning he was handing out CDs, but we're thinking on a larger scale here. We're thinking Coop is blowing up and she's about to move to the next level. That's the only reason Layla was like that. But Preach, he's like, man, I'm not taking no orders from her. They're gonna clash heads. Coop's gonna have to make a decision between Preach and Layla. Carter comes over and talks to Grace. They did have a good interaction earlier in the season. But now that the football season's over, he's saying Billy has some courage to come in here and talk to me about that. And Grace, she's just downplaying it all. Hey, look, you don't have to act like you care about Spencer. The season's over. Go home and celebrate. Now, Carter's trying to say, look, I actually do care about the kids. I'm not letting Billy's past and I ruin what's going on here at the school. I'm just trying to make it better because when Billy did whatever he did to me, my parents, they sent me off to boarding school. I lost my nana, I lost my brother, I lost my cousin. My parents got divorced. Now, each side, they're always using, oh, there was a death. That still isn't any reason to treat somebody differently than you would normally treat them. Your traumas doesn't mean someone else isn't going through a trauma at the same time. But he's sitting there and he's saying, I'm trying to make Crenshaw better. So turn it into a magnet school, that it is actually doing better because it's going to get academics way higher than what it normally is. But Grace is like, I'm not trying to hear it. Get out of here. We got the party cracking. Everybody celebrating. Grace came in, drank, Sandy, yeah. You know what I'm saying? We partying. But we got to go over here and talk to Mr. Jacob. Vanessa's here. And Jacob says, I wasn't much of an athlete when I was coming up. You know, I was more into arts and crafts. I did play a little tennis. Asher, mom's like, yeah, Asher played that too. But Asher, he really doesn't want to be here. So he said, yeah, I quit that when I was 8. Matter of fact, let me get up out of here. My stomach hurt. Maybe it's something I ate. And Vanessa's like, but Ash, wait. I harp on this every single episode. All you have to do is talk it out, people. Now, Billy's talking to Grace. He's like, you done came a far way since we was in Crenshaw and you was tutoring me. They kind of got that little flirting thing going on. She like, I ain't go nowhere. I'm still at South Crenshaw. He's like, yeah, me too. Now, he says, it's a shame that we can't play the game. She's like, maybe you should stop talking and actually listen to Carter a little bit. Carter shows up and he says, hey, man, Billy, I looked things over. You're right, man. We need to do this for the kids. We need to put everything that we have to the side and hey, you got the feel for the kids. Billy's like, oh, shoot, I'll take that. Thanks. That's all I needed to hear. Billy leaves. We get the little awkward flirting between D'Angelo and Grace. He's like, thank you, man. Your text really made my day. I need to go ahead and get on home to my daughter, Jasmine. You know, the one that your son's creeping up on. Tell him to stop calling the house. Grace is like, you're welcome. You know, I'm kind of smart. She moved the tassel over. You know, I graduated. So that's good. I think they're going to end up being together. Liv comes over and talks to Asher, and he's just leaning on the wall like it's a sad rainy day. Man, I'm going through a lot. And Liv is like, hey, you really went all out. I know it's kind of complicated with how me and you and Spence and Layla and me and Spence and, man, everybody messing with each other. But you should take Vanessa more seriously. You know, find out what makes you happy. And he's like, yeah, I know. So, I mean, these kids, they're actually going through it. Like I said, they're further ahead in life than I was in high school. The girls I went to school with, we wasn't having no conversation with them like this. But, I mean, I went to a hood school, so I guess this is what civilized schools do. Coop actually showed up to the party. Now, her and Spence, thanks for coming. And that was pretty much it, just being cordial. She sits down with Mama Grace, and Mama Grace is talking to her. And she's like, Coop, I haven't seen you around a lot. And Coop's like, yeah, man, you know, I got to work on this GED. My only thing about this GED route is, Coop, you ain't in the studio 24/7. You just walking around the city. Just go to high school and finish and get a diploma. It's easier than the GED. That GED, you got to be on it, man. You got to go in there at night, take that test. Hell no. Coop gets a call from Layla, and Layla's like, hey, Coop, I've been trying to call you. Where you been? She's like, oh, I've been kind of busy. But like I just stated earlier, she ain't in the studio all day. She just walking around the city doing whatever. Layla's saying, hey, we can't go into business with Preach because he's too volatile. And I told you, man, this ex-felon. Now, I'm not knocking any felons. We didn't all been there before. Well, not as far as felony, but we didn't all been in trouble of some sort. So I always give everybody a second chance. But anyone with that kind of demeanor and attitude, you can't bring them into business because they use too much emotion. And when people are hitting you with facts and what's behind the business, it's going to be tough for a Preach to be in there to actually have a... Think about it. If they went in there and met some executive and they were like, yeah, we're not going to give you that budget, and he starts wilding out, then what? They could be like, nah, we're just good, period. One thing about Asher's mom, she's going to find a man with some money. Some money, people. Left Asher dad because he went broke. Now she got Jacob. He owned a restaurant. But she's like, Vanessa left, and she actually thanked Jacob. And Asher's like, I did too. She said, nah, I would have remembered that. Why are you giving him a hard time? He opened up his restaurant for you. He let you throw a party here. The only thing that should matter is about me being happy. That's what his mom is saying. But we know his mom is self-centered. Asher could have been like, hey, you know, thank you, Jacob, for allowing my friends to use this restaurant, you know, because it's closing down the business for a couple hours. So she makes a valid point about that. But everything in her life is around her. She left her son because the dad went broke. Now, that's a whole nother story. But Asher's thinking about it. Maybe I should open up more and be nicer to people. Spencer gets up here and he gives a heartfelt speech about his mom. Everything I done, my mom's been there for me. She struggled, but she made sure that me and Dylan were straight. She motivates me to move on to the next day. And we know that Black joy is something that we're celebrating here today. And Without my mom, would none of this be possible? So we need to celebrate you. Now we got Grace over here tearing up. Dylan talking about shoes. Couldn't have said it better myself. And everybody's like, to Grace. And everybody pulling up. Well, they drinking water because these kids are underage people. Now we got us a football game. Asher getting ready. He's stretching and stuff. And Vanessa comes. She's like, hey, you know, you've been a dick these last couple of days. And he's like, I'm sorry. It's just, you know, and she starts finishing his sentences. I know you're just focusing on football. You're trying to get that D1 scholarship. He's like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm finally getting my life back on track. And I want to, you know, pursue my football dreams. And she's talking about, okay. He said, you're not mad at me? She said, just a little bit. But, you know, you need to do this so you can get your scholarship, but you're missing out on all this. If I was Asher, I'm like, look, you straight, you ain't that bad that I'm really missing out on anything, but I need to get focused for this football game. But she gives him a kiss on the cheek. This is football. I'm sorry. Where we're from, when it's football time, hey, girls ain't, hey, get all that out your head. You need to be out on the field. Why are you in the middle of the hallway with cleats on in your whole uniform with shoulder pads? Get out here, Asher. And Vanessa, go get in the stand. Coop comes and talks to Preach, and he's angry. He's sitting there, arms crossed. Oh, did your boss say you can come talk to me? And Coop's like, hey, chill. She's just looking out for her business, which a business owner should do. She's like, hey, look, I want you to be more involved, not with just merch. What I want you to do is be my manager. And Preach is looking like a manager. Let me think on this, but I'm liking that role. Manager Preach. Okay, we might be able to do something with that. I think that would be more of a fitting role because he'll be able to go talk to people and he doesn't have to worry about anything but making sure Coop is where she needs to be. Now, when they do get the merchandise and stuff, that can be handled by the record label. Layla can handle all that. But as far as Coop's day-to-day, he knows her better than anybody else as far as who's around her in the music industry. So that manager's job, that would be a good spot for Preach. Layla's in this big house and she's not doing anything. So what she do, she gets on Instagram and she's scrolling through on Dylan's page. Now, Dylan has a picture with like 5,000 likes. I think the most likes I got on the picture is maybe 4,200. Dylan ain't more, he ain't more popping than me. But she scrolls down and she sees Liv and Spence and they kind of close. And she stops on it. Is she kind of having more feelings for Spence? But the doorbell rings. Carrie gets released from the treatment center. Now, Carrie goes way back. And you remember Layla gave her that advice. Hey, if you ever need anything when you get out, just holler at me. Now, she gets released and she's talking about, I didn't have anywhere else to go. Can I stay here? If I'm Layla, hell no. You just got to, No, you can't stay here. But she lets her in and says, good, because I need me a friend at this moment. This just seems bad, man. They too friendly up in Beverly Hills. Like, you just got out of rehab? Nah, you're not coming to stay over here. We got both teams out here. We got the scrimmage on the line. Some of these players look older than me, and I'm like, man, I'm not believing they in high school. But Billy's out here, and he's saying, listen, we are all family out here, so don't hurt anybody. Because at the end of the day, this is a scrimmage. We know these players, they come out here, we hang out. But we're just trying to make each other look good out here. I mean, not make each other look good, but we want to showcase our talent for the scouts out here. And that's a good thing. Everybody's getting the opportunity for this extra game, especially for Crenshaw since they're out of the hunt. But it turns out Montez shows up and she says, hey, there was a little misunderstanding. Jordan knew that I said we weren't having this. We got playoffs. But if you haven't looked online, Spencer's speech went viral. Now, all the teams across the state are taking a knee. That means everyone's forfeit, which in return means that if every team forfeits, those games don't count and they'll probably have to get replayed. Meaning Crenshaw still has a chance to get in, and everybody's like, we in it. They thinking they got a chance, but now they got to actually win. Life is on the line. Now, Liv is creeping. Mind you, the cops know who her mother is. They know who she is. They know the license plates. There's a police patrol behind her, and they're following her, and they're just following and following. But she does the right thing. What does she do? She calls and puts her mom on the phone. Hopefully, Laura answers his phone. Laura gets on the phone, and she tells Liv, all right, pull over, but pull over in a spot that is visible, and there's people out there, so people can actually see this. And now, that's what you always want to do. If it's dark, you want to pull over to a spot that's lit. That's what I was always taught when I was young coming up, because you never know. It's unfortunate what happened to that military sergeant. He did just that, but this here is less likely to have something happen. Now the cop pulls up next to her, turns his lights on, and then he drives next to her and he's mugging her just to let her know, oh yeah, we're watching you. This is just an intimidation factor. Make sure you're doing all of the proper signaling when you're turning. Stop at the light. Count to 3 when you stop at a stop sign before you take off. They'll get you for a rolling stop. Now you got to be on your game when these cops is on you. Now I know my black people watching this, we know it, but for the less experienced, you got to be on your A game. And this guy lives spooked because now, hey, you in it now. You are in it. They know you and they're going to be on you. They're going to harass you like this. They're going to flash you. They may do other stuff, but they own you now. All right, there you go. All American episode 13. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think Coop should hire Preach as a manager, or should he stay with merchandise? Let me know, because I'm thinking he should be a manager. I'm MoedotJ. Thanks for watching. If you like the content on the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Be here next week for another episode of All American. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.